The shrill scream pierced through the busy Saturday afternoon bustle of Central Park, catching Ian Taylor's attention instantly. His 5-year-old daughter Lily stopped mid-skip, her small hand tightening around his as they both turned toward the commotion. "Somebody, please help." "She stole my purse," a woman's voice cried out, pointing at a figure in a black hoodie sprinting down the path. Ian assessed the situation in a split second. The fleeing thief was heading directly toward them, and something in him simply wouldn't allow him to stand by and do nothing. "Lily, stay right here by this bench. Don't move an inch, princess. Daddy will be right back," he instructed firmly, making eye contact with an elderly couple sitting nearby who nodded in understanding. Without further hesitation, Ian sprinted forward, calculating the trajectory of the hooded figure. Years of high school track came rushing back as he pushed himself harder, closing the distance. The thief noticed him and veered off the path, but Ian was ready. With a powerful lunge, he tackled the person to the ground, careful to control the fall to minimize injury. "Let go," a female voice snarled as the thief struggled beneath him. "Not happening," Ian replied calmly, maintaining his grip as he called out, "Someone call the police." Within minutes, park security arrived, followed shortly by NYPD officers who took the young woman into custody. The stolen purse was recovered intact, and Ian walked back toward the bench where Lily sat patiently watching the whole scene unfold with wide eyes. "Daddy, you were like a superhero," she exclaimed, jumping up and down. Ian smiled, ruffling her blonde curls. "Just doing what's right, sweetheart." "Excuse me," a soft voice called from behind. Ian turned to find the woman whose purse had been stolen. In the chaos, he hadn't gotten a good look at her, but now he found himself momentarily speechless. She was stunning tall with wavy auburn hair that caught the sunlight and warm hazel eyes that crinkled slightly as she smiled at him. "I wanted to thank you properly," she said, extending her hand. "I'm Penelope Parker." "Ian Taylor," he replied, shaking her hand. "And this is my daughter, Lily." "Hello, Lily," Penelope said, crouching down to the little girl's level. "Your daddy was very brave today." Lily nodded proudly. "He's always brave. He checks under my bed for monsters every night." Penelope laughed, a melodic sound that made Ian's heart do an unexpected flip. "That is brave. Most people don't know how dangerous bed monsters can be." Ian smiled, appreciating how naturally she spoke to Lily. "It was nothing, really. I'm just glad you got your purse back." "It wasn't nothing to me," Penelope insisted, straightening up. "Please let me buy you both ice cream or something. It's the least I can do." Ian hesitated. As a single father working 2 jobs to make ends meet, he was fiercely independent and uncomfortable accepting charity. But the hopeful look on Lily's face at the mention of ice cream made the decision for him. "Ice cream would be nice," he conceded. As they walked to a nearby ice cream stand, Ian couldn't help but notice Penelope's designer shoes and the subtle elegance of her casual weekend outfit. She was clearly well off, but there was nothing pretentious about her manner. "So what do you do, Ian?" Penelope asked as they sat on a park bench, each enjoying their ice cream cones while Lily happily occupied herself with a chocolate sundae. "I'm a carpenter by trade," he explained. "I work for a construction company during the week, and I do custom furniture projects on weekends when I can line them up." "That's fascinating," Penelope said, genuine interest lighting her eyes. "I've always admired people who can create something beautiful with their hands. And you?" Ian asked, a brief shadow crossed her face. "I'm in finance, investment management specifically." "That sounds complicated," Ian remarked. "Sometimes," she admitted with a small smile. "But I'd rather hear about your furniture. Do you have pictures?" Ian pulled out his phone and showed her some recent projects: a hand-carved dining table, a set of nursery furniture, and an intricately designed bookcase. "These are exquisite," Penelope gasped, swiping through the photos. "You're an artist, Ian." He felt a flush of pride at her sincere admiration. "It's just something I love doing." Their conversation flowed easily, and before Ian realized it, an hour had passed. Lily was getting tired, and he needed to get home to prepare dinner and get her ready for the school week ahead. "We should probably head home," he said reluctantly. "Of course," Penelope nodded, then hesitated. "I know this might seem forward, but would you consider making a piece for me? I've been looking for a new coffee table, and your style is exactly what I've been searching for. Ian brightened at the prospect of a commission. I'd be happy to. Here, let me give you my card with my number. As he handed her his simple business card, Taylor Woodworks, embossed in plain text, she passed him her own card in return. It was heavy, cream-colored stock with Penelope Parker, CEO, Parker Investment Group, printed in elegant script. CEO. That explained the designer clothes and confident demeanor. Ian tried not to let his surprise show as he pocketed the card. I'll call you tomorrow to discuss details, Penelope promised. As Ian and Lily walked toward the subway station, his daughter looked up at him curiously. Daddy, is that lady your friend now? Ian smiled, unsure himself. Maybe, sweetheart, we'll see. The next morning, Ian dropped Lily off at kindergarten before heading to the construction site where he was currently working. His phone rang just as he was putting on his tool belt, and he didn't recognize the number. Ian Taylor speaking, he answered professionally. Ian, it's Penelope Parker. Is this a good time? Her voice brought back the memory of her smile, catching him off guard. Good morning, Penelope. Yes, I have a few minutes before we start. Great. I was thinking about that coffee table, and I wondered if you might be able to come by my apartment this evening to see the space. I want to make sure whatever you create fits perfectly with the room. Ian thought about his evening routine, picking up Lily from after-school care, making dinner, helping with her simple homework, bath time, and bedtime story. I'm sorry, but weeknights are tough for me with Lily. Oh, of course, Penelope said quickly. I should have realized. What about Saturday? I could come to your workshop instead if that's easier. Saturday could work, Ian agreed. Lily has a playdate in the afternoon. I could meet you around 2. Perfect. Penelope replied, and he could hear the smile in her voice. Throughout the week, Ian found himself thinking about Penelope more often than he cared to admit. There was something about her that had gotten under his skin, not just her beauty, but the genuine way she had spoken to Lily, the interest she had shown in his craft, the lack of pretension despite her obvious wealth. By Saturday, he had cleaned his small workshop, which occupied half of the garage in the modest house he rented in Queens. He had even found himself changing his shirt twice, finally settling on a simple blue button-down that Lily had once told him matched his eyes. The doorbell rang at exactly 2 o'clock. When Ian opened it, Penelope stood on his porch wearing jeans and a simple white blouse, her hair pulled back in a casual ponytail, looking somehow both more relaxed and more beautiful than he remembered. Hi, she said with a warm smile. I hope I'm not too early. Right on time, Ian replied, stepping back to let her in. The workshop's this way. As they walked through his living room, Penelope paused to look at the various wooden pieces scattered throughout a rocking chair, built-in bookshelves, and a toy chest with Lily's name carved on the lid. Did you make all of these? She asked, trailing her fingers along the smooth edge of an end table. Ian nodded. Most of our furniture, yes. It saves money and I enjoy it. Penelope's eyes softened as she studied a framed photo of Ian with Lily as a baby. Is Lily's mother? She trailed off, then shook her head. I'm sorry, that's none of my business. It's okay, Ian assured her. Lily's mother left when she was 6 months old, decided parenthood wasn't for her after all. He kept his tone neutral, having long ago processed the abandonment for Lily's sake. Penelope's expression turned sympathetic but not pitying. You've done an amazing job with her. She's delightful. She's my world, Ian said simply, leading Penelope to the garage workshop. For the next hour, they discussed designs for her coffee table. Penelope showed him photos of her living room, a spacious, tastefully decorated space in what was clearly an upscale Manhattan apartment. Ian sketched several ideas while they talked, and Penelope watched his hands work with evident fascination. You make it look so effortless, she commented as he drew a particularly intricate inlay pattern. Ian chuckled. Years of practice. Here, want to try? He offered her the pencil. Their fingers brushed as she took it, and Ian felt an unexpected jolt of electricity at the contact. Penelope must have felt it too, because her eyes darted to his momentarily before she looked down at the paper. I'll ruin your beautiful sketch, she protested. Not possible, Ian assured her, moving to stand behind her. Here, try adding a curve like this. Without thinking, he guided her hand, then immediately realized how intimate the gesture was and stepped back. Sorry, he murmured. Don't be, Penelope replied softly, turning to face him. They stood there for a moment, something unspoken passing between them. The sound of the front door opening broke the spell. Daddy, I'm home, Lily's voice called out. In the workshop, sweetheart, Ian called back, stepping away from Penelope just as his daughter burst in, followed by his neighbor Mrs. Gonzalez, who had brought her home from the playdate. Miss Parker, Lily exclaimed, clearly delighted to see Penelope again. Hello, Lily, Penelope smiled warmly. Did you have fun at your playdate? As Lily launched into an excited recounting of her afternoon, Ian thanked Mrs. Gonzalez, who gave him a knowing look and a wink before departing. When he turned back, he found Penelope sitting on a workbench with Lily, examining the child's friendship bracelet with exaggerated interest. Would you like to stay for dinner? Ian heard himself asking before he could overthink it. Nothing fancy, just spaghetti and meatballs. Spaghetti is my absolute favorite, Penelope replied, looking up with a smile that made his heart stutter. I'd love to stay if you're sure it's not too much trouble. Yay, Lily cheered, grabbing Penelope's hand. You can help me set the table. As Ian prepared dinner, he watched from the kitchen as Lily showed Penelope her room, her stuffed animals, and her drawings. There was something so natural about how Penelope interacted with his daughter. She listened attentively, asked questions, and seemed genuinely engaged rather than merely humoring a child. Over dinner, Lily dominated the conversation, but whenever Ian caught Penelope's eye across the table, there was a warmth there that made him wonder if she felt the same inexplicable connection he was experiencing. After Lily went to bed, Ian and Penelope sat on the porch with cups of coffee, the early autumn air just cool enough to make the warm mugs welcome. Thank you for dinner, Penelope said. It was the best meal I've had in a long time. Ian raised an eyebrow. It was just spaghetti. It was a home-cooked meal shared with lovely company, she corrected him. That makes all the difference. Ian studied her for a moment. Can I ask you something? Why did you want a coffee table from me? Someone like you could buy furniture from anywhere in the world. Penelope set her mug down. Someone like me, she echoed, a slight edge to her voice. I saw your card, CEO of Parker Investment Group. I looked it up. It's one of the largest investment firms in the city. And that makes me what exactly? Penelope challenged. Ian shook his head. I didn't mean it as an insult. I'm just trying to understand what someone from your world is doing sitting on my porch drinking coffee. Penelope was quiet for a long moment. Do you know what I thought when I saw you tackle that thief in the park? I thought, there's someone who doesn't hesitate. You saw someone in trouble and you acted. No calculation of risk or benefit, just pure instinct to help. She turned to face him fully. Do you know how rare that is in my world, Ian? Everyone always wants something. There's always an angle, always a transaction. Ian absorbed her words, recognizing the loneliness behind them. The coffee table was an excuse, she admitted. I wanted to see you again. And maybe that was selfish of me because our worlds are different, as you pointed out. But sitting here now, I'm glad I made the excuse. I'm glad too, Ian said softly. And for what it's worth, I think the world's thing is overblown. People are just people regardless of their bank accounts. Penelope smiled, a genuine smile that reached her eyes. That's refreshingly optimistic. Lily teaches me optimism every day, Ian replied. It's hard to be cynical when you're raising a child who still believes in magic. As Penelope prepared to leave, she hesitated at the door. I'd still like that coffee table, by the way. Your design was perfect. I'll start working on it next weekend, Ian promised, and maybe. Penelope began, then gathered her courage. Maybe we could have dinner again sometime, all three of us. Ian felt a smile spread across his face. I think we'd both like that very much. Over the next few weeks, Penelope became a regular presence in their lives. She joined them for pizza and movie nights, came to Lily's soccer practice, and even helped Ian in his workshop, proving surprisingly adept at sanding and staining. Ian learned that, beneath her polished exterior, was a woman who had fought hard for everything she had. Orphaned at 12, she had been raised by an uncle who recognized her aptitude for numbers, but offered little emotional support. She had worked her way through college and business school, building her investment firm from scratch with a single client who had taken a chance on her. "People see the success now," she told Ian one evening as they sat side by side on his porch swing after Lily had gone to bed. "They don't see the years of scraping by, the nights I slept in my office because I couldn't afford both rent and growing my business." Ian reached over and took her hand. "I see you, Penelope," he said simply. Their first kiss happened on a crisp October evening as they strolled through the park where they had first met. It was gentle and tentative at first, then deepened with a surprising intensity that left them both breathless. "I've wanted to do that since the day you drew that coffee table design," Penelope confessed, her forehead resting against his. "I've wanted to do that since you crouched down to talk to Lily about bed monsters," Ian replied with a smile. As autumn gave way to winter, their relationship deepened. Penelope's coffee table had long since been delivered to her apartment, but she spent more evenings at Ian's modest house than in her luxury building. Lily had taken to Penelope completely, often asking when Miss Penny would visit next. The differences in their financial situations occasionally created awkward moments. When Penelope offered to take them on a weekend trip to a ski resort, Ian initially refused. "I can't let you pay for something like that," he insisted. "Why not?" Penelope challenged. "If you had the means, wouldn't you want to share experiences with the people you care about?" "That's different," Ian argued. "How?" Penelope pressed. "Is it because I'm a woman? Or because you're too proud?" Her words stung, but they also made Ian examine his own reactions. After a night of soul-searching, he called her. "You're right," he admitted. "I was being stubborn. If the situation were reversed, I'd want to share what I had with you and Lily without making it about money." They went skiing the following weekend, and watching Lily's face light up as she experienced snow-covered mountains for the first time melted away Ian's remaining reservations. That night, after Lily had fallen asleep in the adjoining room of their suite, Ian and Penelope made love for the first time, their connection transcending the physical as they whispered promises and dreams to each other in the darkness. As Christmas approached, Ian faced a new challenge. He wanted to give Penelope something meaningful, but what could he possibly offer that she couldn't buy herself? He spent weeks in his workshop after Lily was asleep, creating a jewelry box with secret compartments and intricate marquetry depicting the Central Park scene where they had first met. On Christmas morning, Penelope joined them for present opening. Lily was ecstatic with the art supplies and books Penelope had given her and the handmade dollhouse from her father. When Ian handed Penelope his carefully wrapped gift, she opened it with tears in her eyes. "Ian, it's exquisite," she breathed, running her fingers over the detailed inlay. "Open the hidden drawer," he urged softly. Penelope found the concealed mechanism and slid open the secret compartment. Inside was a simple silver key. "What's this?" she asked, looking up at him in confusion. "A key to our home," Ian said, his voice thick with emotion. "I know it's not as grand as your place, but it's filled with love and we want you to be part of it, officially." "Are you asking me to move in with you?" Penelope whispered, her eyes shining. "Eventually, yes," Ian nodded. "For now, it's a symbol that you always have a place here with us." Penelope launched herself into his arms, the key clutched tightly in her hand. "It's the best gift I've ever received," she said, her voice muffled against his shoulder. "Does this mean Miss Penny will be here more?" Lily asked excitedly, looking up from her new dollhouse. Ian and Penelope exchanged a look filled with promises before turning to Lily with matching smiles. "Yes, sweetheart," Penelope answered. "If that's okay with you." Lily's enthusiastic response left no doubt about her approval of the arrangement. The next morning, after Lily had gone to play with her new toys, Penelope handed Ian an envelope. "My gift to you," she said nervously. Inside, Ian found papers for a storefront in Brooklyn. "What is this?" he asked, confused. "It's a workshop and showroom," Penelope explained, "for Taylor Woodworks." "Before you protest," she added quickly, seeing his expression, "it's not charity, it's an investment. I've seen what you can create, Ian. Your pieces should be in galleries, not hidden in a garage. This is a business opportunity. You provide the talent, I provide the capital. We can structure it however makes you comfortable." Ian stared at the papers, emotions warring within him. Pride told him to refuse, but he thought about what this could mean for Lily's future, for his dreams of turning his passion into his primary career. "This is too much," he said finally. "It's exactly enough," Penelope countered. "I believe in you, Ian. I believe in your talent. And selfishly, I want the world to see what I see when I look at your work." In the end, they compromised. Ian would accept the storefront, but as a loan that he would repay with interest as the business grew. Penelope agreed, though she insisted the interest rate be reasonable. By spring, Taylor Woodworks had opened its doors in a trendy Brooklyn neighborhood. Penelope had connected Ian with several of her clients who were interested in custom furniture, and word of mouth was spreading quickly. For the first time, Ian could see a future where he wouldn't have to work construction to support his daughter. It was on a warm May evening, almost a year after their first meeting, that Ian took Penelope back to Central Park. They walked hand in hand to the bench where Lily had waited while Ian chased down the purse snatcher. "Remember this spot?" he asked, stopping beside the bench. "How could I forget?" Penelope smiled. "It's where my life changed." "Mine too," Ian said, suddenly nervous. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small wooden box one he had carved himself from a piece of cherry wood. "Penelope Parker, you came into our lives unexpectedly, but now I can't imagine a day without you in it." Penelope's hands flew to her mouth as Ian dropped to one knee. "You've shown me that love doesn't see bank balances or social status. It sees hearts and souls. You've loved Lily as if she were your own, and you've loved me despite all my stubborn pride." He opened the box to reveal a ring with a modest but brilliant diamond set in a band he had designed himself. "Will you marry me and make our family complete?" "Yes," Penelope whispered through her tears, pulling him to his feet and into her arms. "1,000 times yes." They were married in a simple ceremony in the park that fall, with Lily serving as flower girl. Ian's business continued to thrive, with a 6-month waiting list for his custom pieces. Penelope remained CEO of her investment firm, but adjusted her hours to be home for dinner with her new family most nights. 2 years after their wedding, they welcomed twins, a boy and a girl, who had Penelope's auburn hair and Ian's blue eyes. They bought a comfortable brownstone in Brooklyn, close enough to Ian's now thriving workshop that he could walk to work. On quiet evenings when the children were asleep, Ian and Penelope would often sit on their stoop, much like they had on his porch in those early days. Do you ever think about how differently things might have turned out if your purse hadn't been stolen that day? Ian asked one night, his arm around her shoulders. Penelope leaned into him, considering. "I think we would have found each other somehow." "Some people are just meant to be part of your story." "Our story," Ian corrected her with a smile. "Our story," Penelope agreed, kissing him softly under the glow of the streetlights. "And it's only just beginning." From a chance encounter born of theft and bravery, they had built something precious, a family founded not on wealth or status, but on respect, understanding, and a love that saw beyond surfaces to the true worth beneath. In each other, they had found not just partners, but champions for their dreams, proving that sometimes the greatest fortune isn't measured in dollars, but in the richness of connection and the courage to bridge different worlds with an open heart.